Hi, class. So today we'll start our new lesson in chapter 14. And chapter 14 is all about enlightenment and revolution. And the year is between 1600 to 1815. Have your Nat Geo books ready or go to our Lodi USD website and from there launch Clever and log into Cengage Learning with your student account and password. Once you're in the book, go ahead, find Unit 5 and then Chapter 14. So the picture that you're seeing here is several years after the French Revolution, the Emperor Napoleon had built this monument. He named this monument the Arc de Triomphe, erected in Paris to celebrate his military victories. So the essential question for this chapter is, how did new ways of thinking about government and human rights lead to revolution? In the previous chapter, specifically the lessons about scientific revolution, we talk about revolution of ideas, how the old ways of thinking were challenged by new ways of thinking, which is generally non-violent. But here, in the Enlightenment and Revolution, the ideas actually led to physical violent revolutions, such as the French Revolution. Well, generally, obviously, violence is not good. But historically, there are, violent acts such as warfare led to something better for the welfare of the majority. Say, for example, the revolution against the British government, which led to the independence of the United States. Now, most of the founding fathers of the United States, say for example, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, these people were influenced by Enlightenment thinkers. Now, what is this mystery word, enlightenment? Now, that's the reason why we need to go to our first lesson in pages 382 to 383. Now, Enlightenment ideas swept throughout Europe during 18th century. So this lesson will discuss how these ideas challenge established authority. The key word here is reason. So reason is the power of the human mind to think and understand in a logical way. So as you have learned, if you're paying attention to our previous lessons, we learned that ancient Greeks and Roman philosophers used logic and reason to explain the world around them. And these ways of thinking were rediscovered during the Renaissance, hence the rebirth of the classical thinking. And it was expanded during the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment. So the Reformation, which questioned the authority of the Catholic Church, also influenced Enlightenment. So bottom line, Enlightenment thinkers are philosophers who use logic as a source of illumination or light. So the idea is that enlightenment came from philosophy's belief that the light of the human reason would shatter darkness of ignorance, superstition, and unfair authority. Or in other words, just blindly following whatever the authorities tell people to do. So the main idea behind Enlightenment thinking was its open-mindedness and focus on what it means to be human. Enlightenment thinkers question and often oppose long-established institutions, beliefs, and social orders. For a very long time, people are afraid of the church and the government. They are afraid to challenge the authority of these institutions and the people who are in these institutions. So by challenging the established authority, the philosophers prove their courage as well as their independent thinking. Now let's talk about ideas and influences. The Enlightenment did not have a single set of clearly defined beliefs, but they have common ideas. Most important was the idea of human reason. Not tradition nor religious faith should guide the actions of individuals and rulers. So philosophers argued that all knowledge should be based on one word, reason. They also believed that civilization was becoming more and more advanced, that human reason could make further improvements. The idea behind the Enlightenment thinking is not a simple concept to grasp. So the belief was that the natural state for any system was a rational and orderly arrangement like the system found in nature. So these philosophers were saying that in order to effectively govern a society, we need to observe nature. So just like in nature, there's this natural state for any system, and there is this rational and orderly arrangement, like the systems, found in nature. So this way of thinking extended to natural laws and natural rights, including life, liberty, and property. So they are saying that these are just common, these are just basic things that you will see in nature. So according to the philosophies of these philosophers, laws and rights automatically apply to everyone and could be explained through reason. You will get to know more about these concepts when you learn about the US history and government, and you will encounter people like Thomas Paine. Well, obviously, the founding fathers, just like what I mentioned about a while ago, like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. These people were all influenced by Enlightenment ideas or thinking. So, hence, you will learn again about these natural rights, including life, liberty, and property, which are, by the way, included in the Declaration of Independence. So obviously there are these natural rights and freedoms, and of all these freedoms, one freedom that many philosophers consider to be very important, sometimes even more important than their own life, is the freedom of speech. A lot of these Enlightenment thinkers value their freedom of speech more than their life itself. So this is very important for them. So the Enlightenment touch every area of people's lives, including politics. When you say politics, these are how we choose the kind of government that is best for the majority. They tackled about religion, about a man's relationship to the divine, the society as a whole, how we relate to each other, science, pure science, that is the systematic study of things, of course, culture, the different unique way of expression and how people live their lives, and obviously education and economics. Education, what's the best way to learn, the process, the method, and obviously economics, it's about the management of the resources in the society for the benefit or welfare of the majority. Now let's take a look at this painting that depicts salons. So the Enlightenment salons were gatherings organized by wealthy women. Salon hostesses would invite thinkers, writers, and artists to discuss their opinions. These lively conversations helped the philosophies or philosophers refine and spread their ideas. Well, I wonder if hair salons got their name from this French gatherings, but definitely, as you can see, that they have fancy, wavy, curly hair. I'm not sure if it's obvious, but most men are wearing wigs, meaning those are not real hair. As for the women, I think it's real. I don't know if how they got the name salon, hair salon. But anyway, salons are places where people share ideas, philosophers, writers, thinkers in general, they share their ideas. Now, women played an important role here. They are the one who organized this, and if not of them, obviously the ideas will not be improved, will not be criticized, obviously will not spread. So this is the place where things go viral. Okay, so let's go to the review and assess questions. For number one, reading check. What was the Enlightenment? And number two, analyze cause and effect. How did the Renaissance, rebirth of classical thinking of the Greeks and the Romans, and Reformation, the challenging of the authority of the church, and scientific revolution, the challenging of new ideas in science, challenging the old ways of thinking, inspire the Enlightenment in general. And number three, identify main ideas and details. What natural rights did the philosophies or philosophers and other thinkers believe people had? Okay, now go to our Google Classroom and find the Review and Assess assignment, Chapter 14, Section 1, and answer these questions that I just read in the slide, the first slide. Now, class, all the answers to these questions are in the lesson that we just covered. So all you have to do is just go back and check the key words, the key vocabs, and you will find the answers. Don't forget to fill up, of course, the basic information here, last name, first name. And as for the key vocab, the definition, it's also in the book. And of course, if you want to get a full credit, on top of the fact that you have the correct answers, you need to write in complete sentences. Now, it is very important that you use your own words as well. So I guess that's it. So that's our first lesson for section 1, the age of reason, and that is all about the Enlightenment.